Okay, here we are. Put this away. I didn't bring my glasses, so I'm standing this far away. I can't even really see myself. But I just want to stand so my head's in the frame at the very least. This is the fit though. I'm gonna try to shoot in multiple locations. I don't know if I'll be able to in case there are people. I'm on a trail coming to you live from the woods behind my parents' house. It's like a popular trail, but it's almost 5 p.m. so no one should really be here. We're gonna talk about, well, let me read the script. I want to try to keep this one a little less scripted. Let me read the script. Try to go based on memory a little bit. I definitely ended up enjoying this book more than I thought I would. It was given to me by my ex-girlfriend's parents a few years ago, and I just got around to reading it this year. This isn't the type of book I would get for myself, even though I am interested in World War II. I'm not all that interested in biographies. I've read a couple in my day, but they were about musicians that I enjoy or I think would be interesting. I finally decided to read it on a whim. Plus it had pictures, so that always helps. It is actually like the young adult adaptation. Something I didn't notice until I read it was that I have the young adult version. I guess there's a more mature version out there. Maybe the only difference is pictures. Probably some graphic stuff, maybe descriptions of what happened when this guy was in like prison and like maybe the more violent things that happen in war. Another thing I learned was that this story, Louis Zamperini's story, is a movie too. It is apparently well liked. However, I don't necessarily plan on watching it. Let me give you a rundown real quick. This book, again, was more enjoyable than I thought it would be. The beginning, of course, takes place at the beginning of his life. Louis was a troubled kid, getting into trouble on purpose, getting bullied, etc., etc. Somewhere along the line, his brother convinces him to try out for track. Louis had always been fast, which is why he could get away with his shenanigans as a teen. He tried out, made the team, and started to break records. He became popular, loved the attention. Eventually, he joins the Olympic team, the U.S. Olympic track team, goes to Germany for the 1930-something Olympics. More degeneracy ensues as Louis never outgrew his antics. All his glory comes to a quick stop because the USA joins World War II. Louis and his brother join the military. Louis specifically is in the Air Force. He becomes a gunner. I believe he's the gunner, and he's good at it. Like, no surprise there. He's good at what he does. Eventually, one thing leads to another. His plane gets shot down. Only 3 people survive of the 9 or 14-ish that were in the crew at the time. Louis obviously being one of them, because the story is about him. They survive like 40 days at sea. You know, there's sharks, Japanese planes shooting at them, starvation. They make it to land, but they get captured, become Japanese POWs. One of the other men that he's with, he dies before reaching land. So just Louis and one other person get captured. So they're the only ones that end up surviving the crash. Louis bounced around between a few camps. He ends up at one where one of the commanding officers recognizes him from the Olympics. Since he's like a famous American, he makes sure that he gets like daily beatings, like for being famous or successful, basically being a recognizable name. This officer does become ingrained permanently in Louis' mind, being a frequent haunting figure when he develops PTSD. And then, you know, history happens, the war ends, Louis goes home. Much to everyone's surprise, he's alive. His family earlier on was told that he was dead because they couldn't find him when he was drifting at sea. Louis becomes an alcoholic, uses liquor to drown out his PTSD, meets a girl in Florida. They end up moving to California. They get married too fast, have children too fast, and ultimately he becomes an abusive father and husband. And just as his wife works up the courage to take their kid and dash, Louis encounters, well actually, he takes his wife they're out somewhere, and they end up at like a pop-up sermon, and he meets like he encounters a famous preacher. It was his wife. His wife dragged him to a pop-up sermon, and Louis went reluctantly. He almost left halfway through, but then eventually he had like an intense religious experience and found God. And through God, he quit drinking and turned his life around, living happily ever after. I think he ended up dying in 2014, something like that. He outlived his siblings, which is actually amazing. It is quite an amazing story. He lived quite an amazing life. And I was personally really happy that he did end up turning his life around and that he didn't just end up drowning in his demons. The book itself reads well and is entertaining enough. Everything leading up to his enlisting in World War II is plenty interesting. It's a tale of a hooligan becoming an Olympian. Then everything from enlisting to being captured is interesting too. It's very much a war story. My only real gripe with the book came from his capture and time as a POW. And it's weird to say it's like gripe or an issue with the book because it's a biography, so these things actually happened. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a made-up story. Like, this happened to somebody. It's not a story for the sake of storytelling. The problem comes from the repetition. Like, I have this issue with other biographies as well. There's chapters and chapters of basically the same old routine happening, both while stranded at sea and as a POW. At sea, they're hungry, thirsty, lost, over and over again. Like, that is what happened. It is his story, so it should be told that way. It just reads slow. As a POW, he gets beat relentlessly.
A lot of those chapters had this over and over again.
Not that the content could really change since the story isn't made up, but again, it makes reading boring in those sections. I have this issue in other biographies too. For instance, in The Dirt, which is Motley Crue, and Scar Tissue, which is Anthony Kiedis of Red Hot Chili Peppers. There are parts of their stories where they're just like firmly in the midst of a drug addiction. So it's pages and pages and pages of wake up, get high, ruin life, rinse and repeat over and over again. There does come a point where the audience is like, I get it. Like, I get it. Like, this is the day-to-day for a while. You can say that this goes on for a while. Those parts could definitely be thinned out. Maybe not though, since it's a real story, which I want to continue to emphasize because it's not lost on me. This is more of my critique of the media at which the story is presented. I admit that when he gets back home, gets married, and succumbs to alcoholism, it was really disheartening to me to have him come such a long way and start to ruin the good parts that came out of it. That's what PTSD is, though. That's what happened to these heroes. So you can imagine how much of a feel-good moment it was for him to find God again and turn his life around. I was really happy for that because I would have hated to see him just throw everything he worked so hard for away. It all came together in a nice way. It is quite an incredible story. I do think it was put together well by the author. I'm glad I got the YA version because the pictures helped visualize Louis and all the other people in the story. I think I'd recommend it. Maybe not to anyone, but to most people. It's an overall feel-good story about a man overcoming obstacle after obstacle. It's good for the soul and the indomitable human spirit. And it's like, it's real. Like, this happened to somebody. This ain't just Rick Riordan having some young person go on an incredible story. This is an incredible story. So I'll talk more about it at a different location, hopefully, but if not, I'll come back here and yap a little bit more about the specifics. We'll keep these mics on. So that was just basically a rundown of the story. Honestly, I really think this young adult version is the way to go. Because, like, the pictures are nice. It has pictures of Louis' family, him running track. For instance, I don't know which one he is here, but, you know, that's during the Olympics. Actually, he's number 751. So he's this one right here. You know, like the POW camp he was in. Aerial view, not the best. And it's from the 40s, so the best photos money could buy. Military grade photos right there. There's more though. Like, he has, there's actually a lot of pictures in this, which is nice. For instance, all the POWs lined up. Stuff like that. I mean, it helps. Not that it's hard to imagine these things. I wonder if that leaf was in frame. But like, you get to see exactly what he looks like, exactly what his family looks like, exactly what that officer looks like. So that's Louis, and that's his brother Pete. So they both end up joining the military in World War II. I forget what Pete is, but at the end of the war, Pete is home way before Louis is. When he gets shot down, he's lost at sea for like 50 days or something. Might have been more than that. It was like a record though. Not that he's out breaking records on purpose for that kind of stuff, but I forget what his official position was, because he wasn't the pilot. I'm pretty sure he was a gunner or bombardier or something like that. And the book is broken up into parts, like part 1, part 2, part 3, like basically his Olympics, his war, his POW, and life at home. I feel like it's going to be hard to review this because it's a biography. Just like with the nursing book, hard to review because it's not like a story, it's like an advice book. The reason he gets shot down is because basically him and his crew are told to fly a plane that was notoriously bad for breaking down, and everyone considered it a death trap. But it was war and orders were orders. So the whole crew went up in that plane and they were like, fuck dude, like this might be it. And they would be correct. At least for, let's say there was 14 men, 12 of them, that was right. Actually, 13, because Louis and 2 other people survived. One of them died drifting at sea and one of them died as a POW. So Louis is the only one who made it home. And actually, what I think was neat, it touches on some stuff like revenge. When he was a Japanese POW, there was that officer who like targeted him because he knew who he was. That guy was like ingrained in Louis's mind. So after the war, like decades after the war, Louis was like, he went to go find him to kill him. Because I'm pretty sure all the officers, what was supposed to happen was like after the war, all those officers were supposed to go to jail. Some sort of punishment, but this one escaped punishment, they think. And he supposedly killed himself, which Louis did not believe. So he literally went to Japan on a revenge quest and couldn't find him. I'm pretty sure he just went MIA. I'm pretty sure there was no resolution for that, and he just had to accept the fact that what happened happened and he could not get revenge. I mean, yeah. Oh yeah, and here's the, so this is who he ends up marrying. I know, I'm jumping all over the place. I'm trying to keep it more free-form. Yeah, same lady on the honeymoon. After they got married too fast, had kids too fast. But he figured it out. Billy Graham is the preacher, the pastor preacher, where he finds God. And then, where's old Louis? He lives pretty long too, and like, look, he's still cool as fuck. Even when he's old, he's skateboarding and running with the torch. Like, that's pretty dope. He ended up turning that shit around. Good for him. Good for him. I mean, yeah, that's it. I don't know how to talk about like the characters and stuff because they're real. It's not like Hollow Kingdom where I can be like, the narrator sucked, main character was annoying, the fights were stupid. My only real issue, I think it's just a biography issue, is when it gets down into the day-to-days and the routine is the same and it's not thinned out at all. Like for instance, when he is drifting at sea, it's mostly interesting, but it does get to the point where it's like, wake up, no food, nighttime. Wake up, no food, nighttime. And it's that a few times before like something interesting will happen. I mean, that's probably how it went. Like, I'm sure there are more days of nothing than days of something. Let's change location. And I do feel like it's worth mentioning. Whoa. They dropped something over there. I don't think I said this at the beginning. It is worth mentioning. The book is called Unbroken, an Olympian's journey from Airman to Castaway to Captive. And it's by Hillenbrand. I don't think I said that at any point. One thing that's kind of funny is the books I've reviewed, the books I read at the beginning of the year, I'm reviewing now. So for instance, this was the second book I read this year. It's been so long, I forgot what the order was. So in preparation for this, in my mind, I was like, oh, gotta get ready to talk about Thinner by Stephen King. And then I looked at the order because I have them in order on the shelf of what I have to do them in. It's Unbroken, so I was like, fuck. And I had to sit there and try to remember what happened in this book. I mean, it's easier once you like actually have it in your hand and you're looking at it. But I had been thinking about Thinner the whole time. Thinner's the fourth book. Hollow Kingdom's number 1, Unbroken's number 2, and then the nursing book is number 3. It's the order I read them in, it's the order the videos are going to come out. But actually, the nursing one I recorded first, and then Hollow Kingdom was second. So this is actually the third recording. So this one might actually be better because there's more thought put into it. It's the third go around, you start thinking a little bit better about what you're going to do. So yeah, that's a little behind the scenes extra for you. So I think this is going to be my last location. I don't know how it's coming across on the camera, but it's definitely going to start getting dark soon. I've been out here for like almost an hour and I got to get back. I don't feel like unpacking and packing all my stuff. And I want to finish the trail before I leave. Overall, good book. Overall, good book. Good things to say about it. I think, like, looking back, I really have that one critique. I don't know if it's like a pacing thing, but just the repetition. It got boring, and that's really it. And it wasn't ever bad. And it tugs at your heartstrings. Like, usually I feel like I kind of feel nothing when I read stories. They don't really affect me that much, besides entertaining. But the part, I was genuinely like disappointed when he fell into alcoholism, and then genuinely like, it was genuinely felt good when he turned his life around. I think that's huge. I think if a piece of media can make me feel something, just feel something. I shouldn't say that because Hollow Kingdom made me feel angry. So let me rephrase what I was gonna say, because that's feeling something, but in a bad way. Not even like a good bad way, like, oh, I hate this character, in like a fuck this book, like this book sucks kind of bad way. It made me feel something good, positive. Like by the end of it, I wasn't like tearing up, but I was like, wow. I said, like, I went like, wow, like I wowed out loud. So I think that in itself says something. I would recommend it. I forgot I still think rating is kind of tough because it's like so opinionated. I don't remember what I did for Hollow Kingdom. I think it was out of 5. I guess I'd say 4 stars. 4 stars. I'd give it a 4 out of 5. 8 out of 10, I think. That's good because it's not perfect. I think the young adult version is the way to go, but I haven't read the other one. I haven't seen the movie, but there is a movie. And hell, man, I think you should read it. Even if you're not into World War II, I think you should read it. It's just a good story. It's someone's real story, too. I think that adds a lot to it, that this really fucking happened to someone. This isn't some fan fiction of World War II. I'm tired. Yeah, I should get going. I want to finish this trail, and it's going to get dark. I think I'm not even halfway through it yet. I don't even think I'm at the halfway point of this trail, so I better get going. Maybe I'll film more B-roll, but that's about it. Peace.